15 kilometers to go. Tour de Romandie, stage 5. Just one day after this, and it will be, of course, that final stage, the time trial stage around Geneva, the capital of this region, French-speaking region of Switzerland. Look at the back with one of the I Am Cycling riders. It's been a disappointing day for them. They actually missed out on what they hope might be an invitation to the Tour de France. Disappointment in Switzerland today, as Soyasun, Europcar and Cofidis, all French teams, have been handed the wildcards. Radio Shack at the back, also a team to watch here. Robert Kieselowski, very, very high on the overall, just 13 seconds back. He currently sits third on the road, with Gianni Mersman abandoning today. And it looks increasingly like Tony Martin's challenge isn't going to be one that's going to last towards the end. Carlos Betancourt there. Such a shame that that profile does start to change and get a little flatter towards the end. Otherwise, the Azure de Zermatt from Colombia would be one we'd be looking at, I'm pretty sure, for the win.
The trouble is, Robbie, because of the change of the parkour this morning, it doesn't give the teams an opportunity to look at it. So they're riding into the unknown. They don't know what's round the corner, and sometimes you have to take your chance. And you know, that's what Tony Martin is doing. Okay, he's only 20 seconds ahead, and it does look as if he's going to be caught. But when you look at the overall, even Talansky, Kieselowski, Rui Costa, Pinot, Danielson, Betancourt, who have just seen there, even Brakovic, Mikado down in 25th place, and he's at 34 seconds. These riders have to try and do something. You cannot go into a time trial tomorrow. Okay, it's not that long, but you cannot go into a time trial tomorrow. You want to win this race, this is the last time you're going to be able to do it on this climb.
You're watching BN Sports coverage of the 2013 Tour de Romandie. We'll be back after a quick commercial break with more from the race.
Vaudois region. Now Robert Kieselowski, here we go. First attack of the first big men on this climb. Martin had failed a little earlier on, now Kieselowski goes, and this could have big meanings for the overall. Managed to get away at the minute from Sky, Richie Porte and Chris Froome. Remember, two Française des Jeux riders were there. And Kieselowski's a rider who I'd love to see take some protagonism at the top again. It hasn't really quite worked out for him, Brian, ever since he first showed some signs of promise.
No, but it looks good today. He's looked good pretty much all week, taking his opportunity, as we've mentioned before. These riders have to. I'm not too sure he'll be able to stay away on his own, because it'll probably be one against one. It'll be Richie Porte trying to maintain his advantage, but if 2 or 3, 4 riders can get across to him, then he's got a possibility of staying away towards the finish. But now Richie Porte takes up the reins at the front for Chris Froome. But just look at the decimation in this front peloton, and we've only got about 20 riders left.
12.5 kilometres to go. Richie Porte has had to spring into action to try and pull this one back. Thibaut Pinot left isolated as well now. He's lost his colleague from Française des Jeux. Chris Froome was just behind him, and now attempts to try and follow that gap. Look at the rain falling, a shake of the head from Chris Froome. He's not happy in these conditions, is he?
Oh, bike riders are hard riders, and no matter what the temperatures or the conditions like, if you've got the yellow jersey, you have to continue. You have to try and win this race. And we're just hearing over race radio, there's 15 riders in this group. Tom Danielson there, showing well. He's up there in the top 10, sitting 17 seconds off the overall lead as we go further and further up into the mist. And Tom Danielson, a decent enough time trialist and a good climber. Again, Garmin Sharp have already won a stage with Navardash, but he has climbed off earlier, but this race is an absolute bits.
Steve Morabito's still there, just about hanging on, as the best placed Lampreman is José Serpa. Morabito in the red and black of BNC is the only real man in this group who is a true local to the area. Marcel Wies would be a man to watch in the I Am Cycling kit. Valverde still has his man Rui Alberto Costa next to him. Lotto Belisol with Jürgen van den Broek. There's Stefan Spilak. Simon Spilak, pardon me. Valverde, easy to identify by that bright green Movistar coloured neck warmer. And I think that's Igor Anton for Euskaltel Euskadi. We await to try and find you a gap here in terms of time. Robert Kieselowski. Looks as though the harder part of the climb is coming to an end pretty soon. There's one more King of the Mountains to come, by the way. That comes several kilometres from the finish, but here's Thibaut Pinot. And this is going to light things up now. Pinot goes. He too is very, very close in the overall. Just 17 seconds back, as you can see. He's got away from those couple of Skymen at the front, and he's attempting to bridge the not too considerable gap that you can see that exists between that 14-man group now and Robert Kieselowski. Power in numbers up here at the front, Brian.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Kieselowski in front was being held by Richie Porte, 1 against 1. Now Pinot is about to join him, and very good young rider, came through in the Tour de France last year, and looks as if he's on form again for this year. Kieselowski looks behind, he's waiting for him because he knows that 2 is better than 1. So Richie Porte and Sky really under pressure now, and maybe some of the other riders might decide to have a go as well.
Thibaut Pinot, just 22 years of age, from Mélisée in France. Robert Kieselowski within the now Jan forces, and with 10 kilometres to go, a quick chat and straight to work. Richie Porte in the meantime, Sky forced to react. The rest of the teams here can sit back for now, because Sky are the ones that have to do the pulling. 8 seconds the gap, the first time gap we have, and as you can see, it is starting to grow.
Well, we are inside the last 10 kilometres, and what a lot of the teams behind, and the riders, if they've got the legs, they'll hang on until Richie Porte rides himself into the ground, and then it'll be Chris Froome exposed in the yellow jersey, and it'll be time for attacking, because the further we get up this climb, we said, it kind of levels out, and it suits a lot of the riders that have got that punch and they can try and have an attack.
Tony Martin here being escorted by Peter Velets. This is the group that has Albazini in it and it's chasing back. Do you think there's time for these guys to get back on once the gradient levels out a little?
Well, Pinot and Kieselowski are dictating the pace of this climb. If they ease up, then these riders could possibly come back. I feel sorry for Tony Martin. He did really go for it today, but unfortunately he caught it at the wrong time. He's got Peter Velets trying to pace him. You've got to remember, he's still only 29 seconds off the overall lead, and if he can limit the losses, he can make some time up tomorrow in the time trial and creep back up.
Now Wies is the man that is attempting to join in this attack. Marcel Wies, I Am Cycling, who have had a good week in terms of taking a jersey from this race. Matty Brendel will be in green. Second time that he will have won the points jersey, but they want something more. They're a Swiss team. They're in front of their own fans and sponsors. And Marcel Wies is a man with a fast enough finish if it comes to a small select group here.
Well, a Swiss rider riding for a Swiss team, totally motivated today, only 34 seconds off the overall lead, so now we have 3 riders. Richie Porte really under pressure now. He has to keep it going as long as possible, but how long can he keep it going? These 3 riders are Pinot at the front in the white, the best young rider, Kieselowski for Radio Shack, and the white jersey of Wies, but they have to keep the pressure on.
Richie Porte, Chris Froome and Tom Danielson. Carlos Betancourt just behind them in the white, brown and blue of AG de la Mondiale. Blanco rider in there. Looks to be Wilco Kelderman to me.
Yeah, definitely it's Wilco Kelderman for Blanco, and again another attack here
Spilak this time
from Katusha. They attacked earlier on in this climb, and now with a different rider, Spilak, a very good rider. They're starting to think they can beat Team Sky here. They're starting to attack them. Richie Porte doing a sterling effort for his team leader, Chris Froome, but how long can he keep it going?
Well, they've almost rode themselves back, but the attack's still going.
Richie Porte is gone. Chris Froome is having to take up the reins, and now he's going to be isolated. 8.6 kilometres to go. He's brought it all back, but for me, Richie Porte has to stay here, because now that the yellow jersey Chris Froome is isolated, a lot of riders will just think, well, this is our opportunity. And just look at the two dark blue jerseys there. 1,000 metres to go to the top of this climb, and that's Valverde and Rui Costa.
Well, we thought Movistar were going to have a lot to say today, and they are the team now that are going to have to put this man under pressure. It's Froome who tries to take himself and it all on a little by himself now. Froome who distances Danielson for the moment, but there's 8.4k still to go. He has to attack, he has to try and bring this back. Spilak pulling Kilosarowski with him. Wies, and it looks as though Pinot is struggling to keep up now.
Yeah, Chris Froome has decided, well, this is too difficult. He doesn't want these riders, these four riders, going over the top of this climb. As I said, we're inside the last kilometre. He wants to bring it all back, shut it all down, show people who's boss, comes to the front straight away and shows, look, what you can do, I can do better. And he'll try and slow things up, but unfortunately he's lost his right-hand man, Richie Porte, who just in front is Pierre Rolland. And Pierre Rolland, again, has been so aggressive this week, and he's been on the attack also today.
Pierre Rolland of Europcar behind. Chris Froome just gestures to the man next to him to come through. 500 metres to go to the top of the GPN, but that is not important now. That jersey will already rest upon the shoulders of Marcus Berghardt of BMC. It's all about making sure that the race is controlled by those who want to take the yellow jersey. Into 8 kilometres to go. Spilak, a former winner here, remember, when Valverde had the race taken off him, and really putting Chris Froome under pressure. Froome, who is buried into this. Spilak putting on a decent face, doesn't look in too much trouble at all. Froome having to work hard in the meantime. Movistar with still 2 men behind him. Might think that there had to be a reaction from them soon. Both Rui Costa and Alejandro Valverde.
Well, this is a tough part of the climb. This is the last incline, inside the last few hundred metres. After that it levels really, and I think a lot of these riders are thinking, getting over this next part, we turn slightly to the right here, we get a bit of a let off on the climb. Doesn't really descend, just goes over on a plateau, but Chris Froome looks as if he's got the measure of Spilak. And for Chris Froome, he just has to ride the next 7.6 kilometres pretty much as hard as he can, because the rest are playing catch-up.
The Queen stage of the Tour de Romandie 2013 into its final 7.5 kilometres. Robert Kieselowski desperate for some collaboration there, because he realises that these guys out in front, if they get together, are working hard to get some time on the rest. Back in the meantime with Richie Porte and Pierre Rolland. They go over the GPM, and this is where it flattens out. In fact, there are slight areas of even descent on this run in now to the finish. This goes along the windy road of that valley here, up to the ski resort of Les Diablerets. Sitting at around 1,200 metres here. Froome in conversation with Spilak there.
Yeah, I think the conversation has to be, look, just go for turn for turn. I just don't want to lose any time in the overall. Spilak is 51 seconds. If we stay away to the end, you can take the stage.
Spilak can take the stage. And that wouldn't be too much of a problem for Chris Froome as far as the bonus seconds are concerned, because there are 51 seconds between the two. Now Alejandro Valverde coming to the front of this group. And here comes Carlos Betancourt. Colombian rider who is in such good form at the moment, realised that he can't leave it any later either. He's not the sort of man who's going to be making up time on time trials tomorrow. He has to do something, and has got away brilliantly. 6.5k's to go, and can just about in the mist see both Froome and Spilak up ahead of him.
Well, Betancourt really never had the legs to go with it on the climb, and now we're on the kind of flatter section of this climb. He's up against Chris Froome and Spilak. I'm unsure he's going to be able to come across on his own. Just be wary of, there's a lot of corners like this all the way towards the finish, and just as we said, he's been brought back by Verde in a very select group.
Alejandro Valverde, who celebrated his birthday earlier on this week, now 33 years of age, so much experience, had his ups and downs in his career, but this group now is 16 seconds behind Froome and Spilak. say that Simon Spilak is a man